All right. I thought I would put this video out there. I guess more towards people maybe considering picking up Malazan and have heard all the different things. I've put out some other videos about some tips that I've kind of picked up a little bit along the way, and a lot of it is just, you know, just kind of trusting that things will become clear. But this is how my experience has been now that I am on book 7. No, book 8 of 10 on my very first read through of it. And I've been going through sort of at a pace of about a book a month. So, not really ripping through them. Like the first two books, I did Gardens of the Moon in about a week, and then I did Deadhouse Gates in about 10 days, which is quicker than I probably should have because there was a lot that was going in one ear and out the other. And then after that, I was taking about a month for each one. But it wasn't that it was like a steady pace, the same the whole way. Certainly not with these last few. Now, this is what I would have to say. If you open up the Dramatis Personae for any of these, you would notice that there are tons and tons of characters. Some of these books seem to have more than others, especially ones that really focus on some of the. This is a military sort of. There's war. There are wars going on, and there are a lot of named characters. Now, not all of these characters are equal as far as needing your full attention, but there are a lot of named characters. Um, but early on, early on in the each of these books, there will be some new introduced characters. Especially with the first few, because everyone's going to be new. In the first book, you're on one continent. On the next book, you go to another continent, and you go back, but then there's added. Every time we get into a new book after really the first two, you have some characters that you're familiar with, but then you're jumped. You are introduced to some more characters. Now, I would say, this isn't just with Malazan, but it might be especially with Malazan in my case. I already have some reading comprehension issues with early stages of books if I don't really slow down. Um, and it's the same with this. I would say it's a little bit like walking into a cold lake and you are just tiptoeing in. I know I have really achy feet. Uh, my feet just, if I'm in a mountain lake, my feet just ache, and it takes me tons of putting my foot in, taking it out, until finally I can get past that stage, and then I can slowly go in. And there's a spot around upper thighs where it's another tricky spot to get past, and then stomach and da da da, and then you're swimming. Now the very first quarter of the book is a lot like that, where I've had to really slow down because you will go through all of these scenes. Like, these chapters aren't split like they will be with some books like The Faithful and the Fallen, or I think Brandon Sanderson books usually have one kind of character. If the Stormlight, I think it was like one character per chapter was like the POV. I might be mistaken, and that sort of helps when you can have a big chunk of a chapter or a full chapter for one character. It makes it a little tricky when you jump from scene to scene to scene and all these new POVs with people you don't know. Sometimes you will have a character who's in a pub talking to 8 named characters, and then you'll go to someone else who is walking along and meets 5 characters. And when you're jumping from those really quickly, it's a lot it's a lot for me to take in. And when I went through it very quickly, especially with Deadhouse Gates early on, I got kind of lost. Um, Now Reaper's Gale, this seventh one, I really liked because it was, there were a lot of new characters, but I did the thing where I was going to slow down, especially early on, and make sure I really understood some of these characters. And I think it's well written enough that if you just slow down, then you will get it. But try not to, and this is where my advice would come in. Try not to just zip from one scene to the next, especially early on. There will come a time, uh, around around the halfway point. That's when I can just read the book like I would read any other book when I already have these characters. But early on, sometimes I would get a big meaty scene that really was exciting, and if I just went quickly to the next scene with a totally different group, it would be like in one ear and out the other for the scene that I just had. So it was easier to just put the book down and really take my time chewing on it. And that has helped. That has helped a lot. Uh, and it's not great advice, I guess I would say, to just slow down, but I think it makes sense. It's not some revolutionary thing, but don't be afraid to slow down with the books early on. It's not so much that it's going to be so complex from start to end with these books, I think, even though the end of book one is a little bit crazy. There are some added things, and you think, am I just missing something? No, no. It's just added stuff that you don't understand yet. So don't worry about that in the first book. But just slow down. Slow down with these new characters and slowly ramp it up as you feel comfortable. If you start to get to the point, and this is with any book, so this might be the most redundant, lame advice ever. But as soon as you get to the point where you can read the character right away and not go have to dig back into your memory bank, but you just know who they are and kind of what they're doing, yeah, ramp it up and read it as quick as any other ones. But it's usually around that halfway point. Sometimes these books have been split into 4 sub books. It'll really focus often on one area, then go to like a totally different group sometimes in the second sub book, and then sometimes it may even go to another group in the third, or it'll mix them together. But yeah, it's usually around that third. Like I'll read the last quarter of the book in the same time that it'll take me to read like the first 10% of the book, because I'm just way, way, way more comfortable by that point. But this is definitely a series where you have to kind of enjoy the journey. There is a lot of connotation in this series. Doesn't mean you have to be smart necessarily. Like overly, this isn't. I think people get the wrong idea when we say it doesn't hold your hand, and it is a little tricky though with all the things going on, and he does lean on a lot of connotation, which you can sometimes he will have words that are almost like little trigger words that he will use uh, within each of these books. He may choose a number of different ones that he will use to kind of express certain themes and express certain ideas, and have certain similar elements between a lot of these POVs and things like that. And I think he does it so well. But sometimes it means you have to slow down, especially in the beginning. His prologues are great. Now, I didn't really catch on that the prologues do such a good job kind of setting the foundation for the rest of the book. By book 3, I really saw how the rest of the book would echo the prologues, and you could even go back once you're done the book and read the prologue, and you would be able to see that that's the case. But really slow down. Slow down with the prologues. Slow down with the first few chapters, because he really starts to introduce what type of themes are going to be present. Like a lot of series does do this, but especially here, I've noticed um, it really helps. It just really helps to set that foundation, make sure it's nice and solid, and then all the blocks on top of it will just fall into place. Anyway, I'm going to be gone for a few days, so I will talk to you on the other side. And if this is your first time seeing my face, feel free to subscribe and like and continue on. I'm having my own journey. I started really doing YouTube videos for this with Memories of Ice. So if you'd like to see some of my reactions to that along the way, feel free to do that. And if you don't want to see my dumb face again, that's totally fine too. I wouldn't want to either. So talk to you later, or not. Bye.